Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Have you ever said something like studio italiano per 3 anni and wondered why Italians looked at you a little bit confused? Well, yeah, the sentence is not correct. We understand what you want to say, so we understand the meaning, but the sentence is grammatically wrong. Now, I want to focus on this because sometimes, especially tourists, they say things in Italian and the other person might not correct them because if the meaning is understood, the other person will say, I'm not going to just tell them that they're using the wrong preposition. But I am not so nice because I am an Italian teacher and I want you to say immediately the sentence in the most correct form possible. So with this little video, I want to show you the two most commonly confused prepositions. So today we're going to be looking at preposition da and preposition per. If you have been following my channel for some times, first of all, make sure you subscribe to my channel because it's free for you and it helps me. But if you have been following me, you know that I always say that prepositions are super difficult, and they are. But I really want to help you today and I want to break down da and per so that you do not confuse them and that you can speak naturally in Italian. Why are they tricky? Because in English, they can both translate to for. So that's why it can be confusing. So let's look at how to know which one to use, okay? This is going to be the focus of the lesson. I'll show you exactly when to use da and when to use per. If you need to, you can find this entire video written out in PDF format for you, okay? You just need to click on the link that you find below. It's free. If you're subscribed to my newsletter, it's already waiting for you in your inbox. Let's begin on when we're using da. Da equals from. And in this case, we're focusing on the origin. So we're going to use da to say where someone or something comes from. Look at this example. Vengo da Napoli. It translates to I come from Naples. My origins are from Naples. Questa bottiglia viene dalla Toscana. This bottle comes from Tuscany. So the origin, where the bottle was born, where I bought it, is Tuscany. I miei nonni vengono dal Veneto. My grandparents come from the Veneto region. So now you're like, oh, that's easy, Julia, I know. Yeah, so if you're talking about origins or provenance, so where something comes from, you can use da. So now think of your origins and create a sentence to remember this concept now. If you focus on that and you think of something that makes sense for you, you will easily remember da equals from origins. Da could also mean since or for. So basically, when you have an action that started in the past but continues now. And this is where many English speakers make mistakes. So focus on this next example and let's try to internalize this. Lavoro qui da 5 anni. So I've worked here for 5 years. Conosco Marta da molto tempo. I've known Marta for a long time. Viviamo in questa casa da aprile. We've been living in this house since April. Notice something here? In English, we often use the present perfect, okay? So I have worked, I have known, and so on. But in Italian, you simply use the present tense. Let's look at the sentence. Lavoro qui da 5 anni. Do not say ho lavorato qui da 5 anni. So there could be a double mistake here. You could be getting the preposition wrong and also the tense wrong. I know, it's difficult. But this is one of the biggest differences between Italian and English when we're speaking about da with the meaning of since, from. Da can also translate to someone's place. So when you're focusing on the destination, so your destination is a person, their home, their office, a shop, a workplace. So in that case, you're going to use da. Remember that you could have different forms of this, okay? You can have dal when it's masculine singular, dalla when it's feminine singular, dai, dalle will be your plural forms. If you're not sure what these are and you need to review them, you can check my video on articulated prepositions. I'll link it here below. Let's look at some examples with this meaning of destination, of going to a person. Stasera andiamo da Giulia. We're going to Giulia's house. If you're going to the dentist, devo andare dal dentista. I have to go to the dentist. So you're noticing it's not an origin, but it's a destination. Passo dalla parrucchiera dopo il lavoro. I'll stop by the hairdresser after work. You have to think of it like in this way. You're not really going to a building. You're going to a person that is in that building. Okay? So Julia's house, the doctor's office, the hairdresser. Da can also be used when you're talking about purpose or function. Okay? You're going to be using it when you want to describe what something is used for. Look at these examples. Spazzolino da denti. It's a brush used for what? To brush my teeth. That's why I'm talking about purpose. Macchina da caffè. Coffee machine. What's the purpose of the machine? To make coffee. Scarpe da ginnastica. Sports shoes, or like trainers. So what's the purpose of the shoes? To do gymnastics. Tavolo da pranzo. Dining table. Once again, I'm using da because it's the purpose of the table is to dine on. Okay? Now, unfortunately, there isn't like a magic rule that I can give you, but those basic ideas help you to pick up da and begin to position it correctly inside of your sentences. Now, let's look at per, the other confusing pronoun that we often confuse it with da. Okay? Let's focus on how we're going to use it. You can use per when you're talking about a purpose, or more when you're focusing on a goal. So you can use it when you are explaining why you are doing something. Okay? Let's look at these examples. Studio italiano per trasferirmi in Italia. I'm studying Italian to move to Italy. So your goal is moving to Italy. Okay? Sto risparmiando per comprare una macchina nuova. I'm saving money to buy a new car. That's my end goal. Sono andata in centro per incontrare un amico. I went downtown to meet a friend. So what was the purpose of me going downtown? To meet a friend. Whenever you answer the question why, there's a very good chance you'll need to use per. Take note that it's always followed by an infinitive verb when you're using it to express intention. Per trasferirmi, per comprare, per incontrare. Okay? So remember that little formula. You can also use per to talk about the length, so the duration of a completed or future action, okay? This is probably when you more often confuse da and per. Let's look at the examples. Resteremo a Venezia per 3 giorni. We'll stay in Venice for 3 days. That's how many days, the length, the duration of our trip. Ho aspettato il treno per 40 minuti. I waited for the train for 40 minutes. Abbiamo viaggiato per tutta la notte. We traveled all night. So you can notice that these actions have a clear duration, okay? They're completed or have a defined ending. And for that reason, we need to use per. Here is a quick summary. So you're going to use da when you're talking about origin, with the meaning of since, or with ongoing actions, when you're going to a person's place, when you have a function or an object. Quick examples: vengo da Roma, studio italiano da 3 anni, vado dal medico, occhiali da vista. On the other hand, I will use per for purpose, goals, duration of completed or future actions. Quick examples also for this: studio per superare l'esame, risparmio per comprare una casa, ho lavorato per 8 ore. Now, it's your turn. Use these 2 prepositions correctly in the comments. Write a sentence and I will be more than happy to correct it for you. I hope this was useful for you and I will see you next week. Un bacio, ciao.